Welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking AMC. Now this is going to be a little bit different than my typical updates. I actually took a day off from the AMC updates, but there's some stuff I do want to cover technically and overall fundamentally. So on the technical side of things, I'm looking very bullish at the charts. I do think we could potentially get a little bit more downside, and I'll show you where I'll be stacking up the long orders. But if you're in your positions, it's very, very important that we continue to hold. We have some very important stats to look at this as well. On the fundamental viewpoint, AMC is one of the most held stocks that there is, so I want to cover this. Before we get to that content, I need you to do one thing and one thing only. Hit the sub button down below, leave a thumbs up, and have the notifications turned on. I'm telling you guys, I'm posting videos every single day about the stocks I'm trading and finding the next AMC, the next Sundial, these next really big stocks with 2 to 3x potential. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Now, when we discuss AMC, typically what gets brought to mind is overall hype, and what we're talking about now is not hype. This is actually some very technical stuff on the chart that I want to look at. Now, before we get into the chart, I do want to go over one article that has me looking very bullish, which coincides directly with the chart, and it's kind of the overall reason I do think there is some potential upside with AMC. And if I've ever been bullish on this stock as of this short squeeze after the initial run up, right now is the time that I'm actually liking it. I'm going to be going over this in the live session tonight as well, but in the video, you're going to be able to see why I really love this stock right now and kind of the potential upside. There's some very confusing factors as well going on with the short interest that we need to be looking at. Every single website has a different short interest number, and they're very far off, showing that there is clear manipulation in this market and they are giving false information. So that is worth noting as well. As we have said in the previous videos, this is a very slap on the wrist fine, tiny, minuscule. So it's definitely in their best interest to give false information and to take that fine. But let's get right into the article and then we'll get into the charts. Okay, so in this article, it's basically going over the most held stock on Robinhood. For a while, it was Apple, then it was Tesla, and it kind of went back and forth. But right now, it's actually been dethroned by yours truly, AMC. It is the most held stock on the platform. So we're going to take a really quick read. For example, with the exception of a few days, tech kingpin Apple has consistently been the most held Robinhood stock for months. Apple is one of the most recognized brands in the world and showcased its first 5G capable iPhone just shy of 3 months ago. So Apple, obviously one of the most known stocks in the world, has really held this position on Robinhood being the most held, most bought stock that there is. And then it was kind of briefly taken over by Tesla Motors, and then Ford for a little bit. Well, Ford is so cheap, that's kind of why. But then we're seeing something change. We're seeing social media take us by storm. And now it's AMC. Currently, since mid-January, the interest in AMC has also been partially sparked by the company securing a $917 million in funding in late January. It raised $506 million between mid-December and late January by issuing common stock and secured another $411 million through debt capital. With the coronavirus disease in 2019 pandemic closing movie theaters and significantly reducing foot traffic, this capital infusion will allow AMC to make it through the winter. So this was very big news. Now, is this hype still? What's going on? And this answers the question of the hype. Is the hype gone? The fact that they still are the number one held stock on Robinhood should tell you something. Retail investors are holding. We've been mentioning this over and over and over. So it's important that if you're holding this stock, I'm telling you, once we get into the charts, you'll see what I'm talking about. Very similar movement from what we saw from Sundial. I love what we're seeing. There is massive, massive upside here. In the article, they go on to do what all articles are doing in all big businesses. They're running AMC into the ground, calling it an overall eyesore. Now, this is just an absolute disgrace to the company, and I understand where they're coming from to some point, although they mentioned the bankruptcy right here. Now, that's not worth mentioning because they disputed all those arguments. They are not going bankrupt. They completely shut down those overall ideas. So let's take a really quick look at the chart. Ignore the bearishness from the article at that point. That's all just hype. All these big names are saying AMC is a waste of money. You should be getting out, yada, yada, yada. But the point is, if you held from $16 already, what's the point of exiting at $5 if it goes down to $4? And the bottom basement price of the stock, even from the bearish analysts, is $3. So where's really that downside? What's the point of exiting now? If even the analysts that are completely bearish on this stock from every big hedge fund have the bottom of this stock at $3, what's the point of getting out now? That's another dollar or two. You're cutting your losses by minuscule numbers compared to the potential upside of another short squeeze. So let's get into the chart. Okay, so it's obvious. I have not been an extreme bull in this stock, but I'm going to give you my consensus. I'm going to give you my honest viewpoint of what's going on because I believe there is hope. I believe that it's being heavily manipulated by the media and everything like that. So what we're seeing here on the OBV, very big pinching, right? We've broken out of this downward trend, and now we're just flatlining, going sideways. I don't see us getting an OBV breakdown to the downside, sparking a major sell-off. I don't see that happening. Now on the chart, it's a little bit different, so bear with me. Let's look at this really quickly. Looking at the chart, really zooming in here. Let's look at a few things, guys. We need to look at a few little things. Now, we're making this overall bottom. We're making higher lows as well. That's worth mentioning, guys. These are overall higher lows, so that is bullish, if you will. But I want to signal just a few little things right here. These higher lows, 1, 2, 3. We're starting that little trend to the upside. It doesn't look completely bad. Starting that trend, right? Then we're kind of getting a squeeze as well. We did have this initial push up and then came back down, back into this trend now, squeezing back into there. I'm really liking this price action, guys. We're making higher lows, moving very sideways. This is what I really like about the stock. As you really start to pinch it out, you can see how much we're moving sideways, which is what we really wanted to see. This is the same action that we were getting on Sundial before we had that massive move up. And I'm telling you, if we can stay sideways till this real number gets out on short interest, I really believe there's a high possibility we see another run to $8, maybe $10, maybe even higher depending on the volume that kicks back in. I do want to take a really quick look at Yahoo Finance and go over that as well because that gives you a very good idea and shows the overall numbers coming in from Yahoo Finance and the buyers every single day. The volume has greatly died down, but what's so interesting here is the movement that we're getting on this stock. It almost makes no sense that over the past 2 days, we've only been moving in about, a 40 to 30 cent price range on AMC with all the movement and all the talk of this stock. And most institutions, if you go look on Fintel, they're overall in puts. So the short interest number doesn't make any sense. The short volume indicator doesn't make any sense. The data they're giving us are completely falsified. Based on this pinch, based on the movement that we're getting on the OBV, I have to believe that we're leaning more to the upside than to the downside. Now, I do want to see a push down to the 480 marker. I think if we get pushed down to the 480 marker, this really signals retail to start buying and dumping it. I believe under $5, we see massive buy orders on the stock all around retail. So that is worth focusing on. But overall, I love what's going on. I love the pinching. I love the stagnation of the stock right now. This is really hurting the overall shorts. They want to see a clear push back down, and we're not getting it, so I do really like that. But let's close it up looking at the Yahoo Finance volume numbers. Okay, so if you go to Yahoo Finance, you just come up here, click historical data, as you see right there, and then this will pop up. Then you'll see every single day's volume right here on the far right. So let's zoom in. Over the past 14 days, give or take, we've seen massive volume going all the way down to 1.2 billion coming up. The past 2 days have been absolutely ridiculous. These 2 days of consolidation, 46 and 55 million. The lack of volume actually has me very bullish. The stagnation of the stock, 30 cents, is ridiculous for the stock to be moving right now. I'm telling you guys, I really like what's going on. We're basically sitting, as you can see right here on the opens, a 5.71, 5.62, 5.72. We're sitting sideways. The stock is not moving. This is looking very interesting for the possible squeeze and push up to the upside. Short-term targets $8 to $10 overall, but I really think volume could start kicking in. And if the right amount of volume starts kicking in, I'm telling you, there's a possibility for $20. I'm not a perma bull or anything like that. I'm always giving my honest opinion. So I'll be going over that in the live session. So hop into live if you want to get more information on this. But that's just what the chart and what the data is telling me. Then you'll see every single day's volume right here on the far right. So let's zoom in. Over the past 14 days, give or take, we've seen massive volume going all the way down to 1.2 billion coming up. The past 2 days have been absolutely ridiculous. These 2 days of consolidation, 46 and 55 million. The lack of volume actually has me very bullish. The stagnation of the stock, 30 cents, is ridiculous for the stock to be moving right now. I'm telling you guys, I really like what's going on. We're basically sitting, as you can see right here, on the opens, a 5.71, 5.62, 5.72. We're sitting sideways. The stock is not moving. This is looking very interesting for the possible squeeze and push up to the upside. Short-term targets $8 to $10 overall, but I really think volume could start kicking in. And if the right amount of volume starts kicking in, I'm telling you, there's a possibility for $20. I'm not a perma bull or anything like that. I'm always giving my honest opinion. So I'll be going over that in the live session. So hop into live if you want to get more information on this. But that's just what the chart and what the data is telling me. In closing, looking at AMC, it's hard to look at the chart and not like it. If it was any other stock, I would be all over it, really dumping my money into it. But because it's AMC and what's going on with this stock and all the hype, I want confirmation before I get my entries. So I want to see it kind of break back above that $6 range before I enter into call options or anything like that. Also, you have to know this is a high risk play. It's definitely one of the higher end, higher risk plays if you're not in the stock right now. But if you're sitting in the stock, what is the purpose of this message, of this video? There's honestly a high probability and possibility we start to get that move up to the upside. The stagnation, what we're seeing, this sideways movement is what you want on the squeeze. GameStop did this before the giant move up. This is very interesting where we're seeing the falsified and manipulated short interest data has me very bullish as well. It doesn't make sense what the numbers that they're giving us. It absolutely is insane because when you go look at the FinTel, the institutional funds on this, and the institutional funds are what's important because that's the big players. They're almost all puts. There's no call options here. They're almost all puts. So it's not adding up overall. The numbers just, they don't make sense. And I'm leaning more towards the bullish side. If we get a push below $5, this is going to be a definite entry zone, in my opinion, maybe 1-2 months out with call options, just to have a little bit of safety net there. But once it starts moving, it's going to start moving very, very fast. So make sure you're paying attention. I'll have more updates coming on the channel over the next few days. That's going to wrap it up, guys. If you got something out of this, hit the sub button down below, leave a thumbs up, and have the notifications turned on. We're posting videos every single day. I'll catch you tonight during the live session. If you have any questions, have a good one, boys. Namaste.